Grocery shopping in different countries is somehow always exciting to me. It might sound boring, but going into supermarket is probably one of my favorite things to do while I'm traveling. Because who doesn't like trying different snacks you haven't never tried before or you've never seen before, or drinks, and just discovering what works differently in different countries? What looks completely normal to locals might be strange to you or so interesting. I got to do grocery shopping in Australia for 7 years while living there, and there were definitely things that felt so different from what I was used to in Estonia. So in today's video, I'll share some of the things that usually surprise foreigners about Australian supermarkets and what surprised me. You can buy kangaroo meat in grocery stores. Yes, you can walk into normal Australian grocery shop and buy kangaroo meat. And I don't mean you have to go to some special exotic meat shop, but I think all the major supermarkets sell that, which you can find in the meat section between all the meat options, which as a foreigner can be a little bit shocking the first time you see it. Because I don't think that's a very common thing to eat in other countries, or that you can see it in grocery stores. Kangaroo meat is also very different. It's extremely lean with very little fat. So you're supposed to be careful not to overcook it because it can become tough and dry. I actually never tried kangaroo meat while I lived there. I don't know, I just couldn't do it. But let me know if you have tried it. Kids can get free fruit while you're shopping. This is one of those things I absolutely loved about Australian supermarkets. At Woolworths, because I'm not sure if you can do that at Coles. I think they did that, but they stopped it at some point. But correct me if I'm wrong. But children can get a free piece of fresh fruit at Woolworths while they're shopping with their parents. It's part of Woolworth's Free Fruit for Kids program, and that has been running since 2015. So you walk into the supermarket and there can be a little basket or bin with fresh fruit where kids can just take a piece to eat while you're shopping. I think this is genius, because grocery shopping with kids can sometimes be quite difficult. You have to get through the whole supermarket while your kids are surrounded by colorful packages, chocolate, lollies, cookies, everything else they might want at that moment, and all the sweets they might want. But instead, here you go. Grab a banana, grab an apple. It keeps kids busy while you're doing your shopping. Genius. And it's actually not like a little thing. Woolworths says the program gave away more than 32 million pieces of fruit across Australia and New Zealand in 2025. And that's kind of amazing. I honestly wish more supermarkets did that. Red-tipped bananas. If you've ever seen these bananas in Australia, you might have wondered what is going on. Why do they have that red-tipped thing? Because some bananas have bright red wax tip. And no, it's definitely not just for decoration. That red tip is actually used to show that the bananas were grown using a different farming method. Basically, the farmers try to work with the natural ecosystem on the farm rather than relying as much on conventional pesticides and other chemicals. So the red tip is basically a little sign telling you where and how these bananas were grown. And apparently these bananas are also promoted as having a sweeter, creamier flavor and a longer shelf life, which I definitely didn't know about. Some of the food has a health score rating. Another thing I really liked about Australian supermarkets was the health star rating. You'll often see this little star rating on packaged foods. It goes from half a star to 5 stars. And it's actually designed to help you compare similar products based on their nutritional information. So, for example, if you're standing in front of 10 different cereals and have absolutely no idea which one to choose, you can look at the star rating and compare similar products. And I actually used it. I often chose something with a better star rating. But it doesn't mean that a 5-star product is automatically healthy or healthier, and a 2-star product is automatically terrible. But it does help you choose, I guess. We don't have this in Estonia, so I found it quite useful there and I actually do miss it. I wish there would be some kind of rating system or something like that because I often did choose a better star rating of something. You don't usually buy your alcohol in the supermarket. This was one thing that felt strange to me at first. In Estonia, you walk into a supermarket and you can buy pretty much everything in one place, including alcohol. But in Australia, it is often sold separately from the main grocery shop. So you might finish your grocery shopping at Woolworths or Coles and then walk next door to a separate bottle shop if you want something. There are some exceptions probably because I lived in Sydney and in one of the Aldi shops there was a separate section for that, but you could only pay for it in a dedicated register. So you must pay at the designated cashier aisle for that. So for me, that was very unusual, but it's probably very normal in Australia because in Estonia, we can buy everything in one shop, even though we do have separate shops as well. No black bread. This point is probably more personal as I know that black bread is not that common in a lot of places. But this is what I missed the most from Australian grocery shops. Black bread, also rye bread, is probably the most popular bread in Estonia. So when I moved to Australia, I didn't expect to miss it that much. I don't know why. Because of course, Australia has plenty of different breads. You can find wholemeal, multigrain, sourdough, and plenty of other options. But the dark bread, dark rye bread is just something I couldn't find. Just wasn't something I could just pick up in every supermarket. It was one Estonian food I missed the most. I tried some of them that I could find, but obviously they didn't even taste the same there. But that's okay. I got to try so many different new things that I also started to love and that I miss now. So yeah, but it's something that I didn't even think that it doesn't exist there. So, those are just some of the things about Australian supermarkets that stood out to me after living there for 7 years. And just as I missed Estonian foods while I was living there are some Australian foods and things I really miss living back home now. Although I have managed to find Tim Tams here in Estonia now, but they're expensive and there's only two options. But I'll take it. At least it's something. So, what is something completely normal in your country's supermarket that would probably shock a foreigner? And if you're Australian, is there something I missed that is completely normal to you but might surprise foreigners? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you don't want to miss the next ones. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.